This is Eagle Owl, and today I will be talking about Cam Jurgens. His time is now. Also, we're going to talk about Christian Wilkins and why this is starting to feel like a how we move. And lastly, Brandon Graham is back, but let's get straight into it. All right, so before we get straight into the topics, Hassan Reddick, rumors are heating up more. This is the second time. The second time I heard this Houston and Hassan Reddick. So Houston is building up interest for Hassan Reddick. It depends on what they want to give up. I think they should give up like a third in the player. I like some of the receivers over there. I'm just saying, give up a third in the player or a second and like a fourth or something. But it seemed like they want Hassan Reddick. They want our defensive ends, man. We already gave y'all Derek Burnett for the free, and now y'all want Hassan Reddick. But it seemed like what D'Amico Ryans, he probably got the same mindset as being a defensive coach, like of like a Howie Roseman, like want to probably build up his trenches because your trenches only make your secondary better. And it seemed like Houston is trying to go with that same formula. So they try to get as much, defensive guys or defensive line guys as they can. And if I guess they thinking like, well, if we could add Hassan Reddick, why not? And I think Houston would be a good spot for Hassan Reddick. It's low key, good weather. You play in the dome, competitive team. They on the AFC, so we don't have to worry about them. And if they give us good compensation, I wouldn't mind that trade. But if we don't have to trade them at all, don't trade them. Just don't trade them. But this is Houston is a team I wouldn't mind trading with because I'm not saying I don't see them as a threat, but they not in the Eagles' way. All right, so let's get into the topics today. So let's talk about Cam Jurgens. His time is now. His time is now. As we know, as of yesterday, Jason Kelsey officially announced his retirement. I mean, he said a lot in that speech, and it even had me thinking, right? And it made me think of Cam Jurgens a little bit because he did mention the season, I think, before the Super Bowl and how the Eagles were actually looking to trade Jason Kelsey. How crazy that sounds now. And he admitted like almost everybody wanted him out the building except Jeff Stoutland. And I remember that year. I was in college. I was watching the Eagles, but I'm like, man, Jason Kelsey seemed like he just completely fell off. Man, all the penalties, the bad snaps, like it was out of hand. But all that was forgotten because that Super Bowl year, it went from like a complete light switch from off to on. Literally, since that bad season, he's been on. All pros, Pro Bowls, considering him one of the best centers in the league. But he's like, even at the time when trades were offered for Jason Kelsey, he was so bad at the time, or he had such a bad season, nobody won't even take it. How crazy do that sound? How crazy. And not only did it make me think of Cam Jurgens, it's not like Cam Jurgens had a bad year, but I did question his durability. And there was some times he looked like the weak link on the field. So I take that as like he can grow from this. But it made me think of other players like N'Kobe Dean. Really made me think of like how everybody's down on him now, but he can flip the narrative. Nolan Smith, people down on him now. He can flip the narrative. Jalen Hurts, even the short amount of time he's been here, he's flipping the narrative. So certain guys can really do it, but they got to put their mind into it. They got to put in the work. As Jason Kelsey even said after that, Jeff Stoutland told him what to work on. He came back, put in the work. Now he's remembered as one of the GOATs. People totally forgot about that season. But Cam Jurgens, back to him, time is now. I think he can move like Jason Kelsey. He's bigger than Jason Kelsey. You're not going to find a lot of smaller offensive linemen than Jason Kelsey. But bigger than Jason Kelsey, could get sideline to sideline like Jason Kelsey. He be moving people out the way. But again, the only thing I question about Cam Jurgens is can he stay healthy and will he work on certain techniques? I think it was him with the I think he wasn't that good at pass blocking. Cam Jurgens was a really good run blocking guard because remember our running attempts and stuff went down after Cam Jurgens went out for a couple games. Like we just looked worse running the ball. Then we just completely strayed away from it with Cam Jurgens. But when he came back, you see how effective he was in the run game. But just work on his pass blocking, a couple things here and there. I guess the couple things the centers do as well. So Cam Jurgens, you got this. You got this. Jason Kelsey pits him for a reason. And I would say this, Eagles fans, he's going to have his ups and downs. It's going to be hard to compare him to Jason Kelsey. Like he's filling in some big Timberland shoes. I mean, everybody. If he mess up, Jason Kelsey wouldn't have did that. If we do this and do that, Jason Kelsey wouldn't have did that. But Jason Kelsey is a legend. Again, he's going to go through his bumps and bruises. But Cam Jurgens, you got this. You got this. All right, so let's get into the next topic. Let's talk about Christian Wilkins. Christian Wilkins. I seen this a couple days ago that I think it was yesterday that he was released or something like that. I seen that, but then the Dolphins are just letting him go to the open market. I thought they was gonna try to, play the contract or maybe franchise tag him, but they let him go out there to see what he can get. I think it's completely dangerous. But the more I'm starting to think about it, the more it's starting to feel like how we move. Mind you, he had his best season under Vic Fangio with 9 sacks. Didn't have anything close the past 4 years without Vic Fangio. So obviously he liked that system. B, do he like Vic Fangio? That's the question. Because a lot of people in Miami did not like him. But I could see him coming to Philadelphia, and I can even see how we paying him. Because you know how we question, like, yeah, maybe this time how we get a linebacker, or maybe this time, he'll really treat the safety position as such and such. But one thing for sure, when it comes to those defensive linemen, he will pay. And a guy like Christian Wilkins, young and on the market, and Fletcher Cox might retire, I'm telling you, this is how we move. The other moves we hoping he do, because we really need help at linebacker and we really need help at safety. But if you see that defensive line starting to look a little thin, don't be surprised. It might make even some Eagles fans mad if they really pay him that bag. Don't be surprised if Christian Wilkins, couple weeks or when free agency start, he's a Philadelphia Eagle. Because that's a how we think. That's a how we think. Like, I remember even last year when the Jeffrey Simmons and Tennessee, when he was rumored to leave, but then Tennessee ended up re-signing him. I'm like, if Tennessee try to trade him or they release him out to the open market or whatever, he's going to be a Philadelphia Eagle because I know Howie. This guy is on the market. He will not be franchise tagged. Howie is going to make the call. Nobody's talking about defensive tackle because we feel like we good. But a name like that, how we move. Promise you, is how we move. All right, so let's get into the last topic of the day. Last topic of the day, Brandon Graham. Brandon Graham is officially back or not officially back, right? Because I know some Eagles reporters put out he is signing back. Then Ian Rappaport responded is like, well, they got a mutual agreement, but no contract is not out there. But when I hear mutual agreement, they're going to come to a contract, and Howie's not letting him go anywhere. So all I had to hear is Brandon Graham is not retiring. Brandon Graham not retiring. He will be a Philadelphia Eagle. That's good to hear. Can't take no more. I know Fletcher Cox is going to come up really soon with retiring. I couldn't take all 3 of the guys retiring this year. No, I think this is Brandon Graham last ride. I think he's really going to give it a shot to win. But I think Jason Kelsey, we already know he's done. I think Fletcher Cox will be done. But it's good to see Brandon Graham will be back. And Brandon Graham is still productive. Of course, he's not going to give you double-digit sacks, but I think this point of his career, you ask him to get you 5, 6, play 30% of the game. I think he can do it. He can do that for sure. So salute to Brandon Graham, giving it another run, another shot. See what we can do it, man. Let's do it for Brandon Graham, man. But hey, man, what do you think? How do you feel about the news today? Kristen Wilkins, Hassan Reddick, Brandon Graham, all this good stuff. But this is Eagle Al, man.